Former military lawyer David McBride has been sentenced to nearly 6 years in jail. The first and only person so far to be sent to prison over alleged war crimes in Afghanistan, not for perpetrating the crimes, but for being the whistleblower who revealed them.
I've never been so proud to be an Australian as today.
David McBride, the whistleblower who exposed alleged war crimes at the hands of Aussie soldiers.
I may have broken the law, but I did not break my oath to the people of Australia and the soldiers who keep us safe.
Today, sentenced to 5 years and 8 months in jail. The courtroom erupting with cries of shame from McBride's supporters.
It would be a mockery to call what David McBride has gone through in this courtroom a trial. He never had a chance.
Delivering his verdict, the judge found the former military lawyer had committed a gross breach of trust, that he appeared to have become obsessed with the correctness of his own opinions and that he'd shown no remorse.
David McBride, the first person jailed for war crimes in Afghanistan, and his crime was telling us about them.
Over 18 months, McBride stole 235 defence documents, 207 marked as secret, storing them in plastic tubs at his home before leaking them to journalists. The material used in the ABC's Afghan Files, which alleged Australian soldiers were covering up unlawful killings of unarmed men and children, including a 6-year-old boy, allegedly shot in his sleep.
You could shoot someone who wasn't armed. Sometimes even worse than that, where you've got someone handcuffed and you just put a gun to their head and blow their head away.
Last year, on the eve of the trial, McBride entered a guilty plea after his planned defence, that he was doing his duty as an army officer, was struck out.
On the rule, the duty of an Australian military officer effectively has one meaning, and that is to obey orders. Well, we fundamentally disagree with that. We will be lodging an appeal.
McBride will have a non-parole period of 2 years and 3 months, a reality he was grappling with when we spoke to him just 2 weeks ago.
If that happens, I want to be able to stand firm and say, you haven't broken me. I'm still committed to what I believe.
A key part of forming his sentence, the need to deter others. They must know that breaching their legal obligations will be met by significant punishment, the judge said.
This judgment was meant to send a message to whistleblowers that you dare not put your head up.
You worry about your kids worrying about you. Just holding each other, we hug quite a bit. It's just those kind of small things that if you do end up in prison, the touch of your daughter's back on your back while you sit there on the sofa together, as long as they're okay, I should be okay.
David's former wife Sarah was with David today and is with us now. Sarah, thanks so much for speaking to us. How are you coping at the moment?
Today's been a bit of a blur, to be honest. It's been quite surreal. Still processing a lot of what's happened, and I think that will be the case for at least for the next few days.
When we spoke to David a couple of weeks ago, he spoke so beautifully about the 2 girls that you have together. How are they coping today?
I've had to phone one of them. The other one I'm still trying to get in contact with. We did talk as a family about what the outcome could look like. These are not easy conversations to have as a parent. They've already been through so much for so long now. In a way, closure is good, but it's a very challenging conversation to have with your children. So time will tell. They put up a brave face, but it's not easy.
Yeah, I can well imagine. And so much, like, the expectations about what the verdict could have been, I imagine there was a huge range that you were considering, but then there's the moment of reality where the sentence is handed down and David's led away. But what's that moment like? What was that like for you to watch?
It was tough. You can mentally prepare yourself as much as possible for that moment, but when it actually happens, it was really, really tough. Particularly for his dog, Jake, that spends so much time with Dave. He was determined to follow him, but we had to hold him back. But yeah, it was grueling, really grueling.
Have you had contact with David now, and how often are you allowed to speak with him?
I actually did speak to him from jail this afternoon. We got our 10 minutes, which was very closely timed. He actually sounded in good form, positive. It's going to take time to transition to a new routine. I'm yet to find out what that looks like. I'm not familiar with the prison system, how I can manage, getting the girls to go and see him and talk to him, because that's obviously the priority right now, is that contact with the girls.
Do you have a message, Sarah, for the government or the Defence Force about this whole case?
So many. Australia can do better. This is just not good enough. We can't keep hiding and pushing down issues that have obviously got red flags all over it. I mean, people don't choose to put their lives through such enduring circumstances if there isn't something to see there. So I think we really need to stand up and find this accountability and far more transparency when there are big issues at stake here.
It seems that your former husband, who is an extraordinary man of great courage, was punished because he showed no remorse about what he had done, so the sentence was longer. Was there a moment when, even though you admire him for his courage, but motivated by self-interest for your family, your daughters, yourself and him, that you wavered over what he should do, that a part of you was like, oh, just say you're sorry?
Full transparency, absolutely not. He went in speaking the truth, getting the message across. At the end of the day, he just wanted accountability by the leadership. And we're still not even there yet. He's paid the price for it. We've paid the price for it. I mean, ultimately, Australia pays the price for it. But, a lengthy sentence based on remorse, I mean, it's had already huge ramifications for our family, financially, emotionally. So sure, there's remorse around that, but not behind the messaging and the point that he's been trying to get across for so many years now.
Sarah, there's nothing really we can say by way of consolation for you today. All we can do is say that I think a lot of people watching this will feel very similarly to you about this. They'll be very sympathetic to your plight, and I think perhaps even a bit shocked that it's turned out this way. Thank you so much for your time and for finding that time on a day like this for us.
Thanks, guys. And I know David really appreciates the project and all your support that you've shown throughout this journey. So it's really appreciated.